start the record. Perfect. So, hi everyone. Welcome to this session. My name is Daniela Gomez. I work as a capacity development manager at JORS together with Manpreet. And I'll be together with you in this session today. Happy New Year. It's mid-January, but I think we still can say that to people we haven't seen before, and I hadn't seen you. So Happy New Year, everyone. I hope that 2024 brings a lot of joy to your lives, professional, personal growth, and hopefully new projects. So today, as you know, we have a very interesting session because we will give you some tools and knowledge for you to write grant-winning proposals that are strong and can potentially have some funding to be implemented. And we're having also something very special today. We'll have the launch of the local actions call for proposals. So I know many of you are here today to know what the guidelines and instructions for you to apply are. So please stay tuned, and we will let you know all that information in by the end of this session. All right. So this session has been designed for us, for you to have these tools and knowledge to design your project proposal. So it is a session that's designed to respond to your needs. It's also a session that is rooted in the Global Youth Statement. The Global Youth Statement of the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety understands that young people should have a key and active role in the improving of the road safety conditions around the world. So this session is also aiming at that, aiming at young people becoming those key actors and stakeholders in the road safety field. And this session is, of course, also designed for you to learn from your peers. We'll have some young leaders invited today for you to understand their experience and learn from their own experience writing their winning project proposals. So and last but not least, we hope you have a lot of fun while learning today. I hope that you can have some time also to interact. We will have some breakout room moment. So I think this is a pretty good session for you today. So let me just present this on slideshow mode so you can see full screen. Perfect. So what's next? I would like to present today's learning objectives. We have for this session 4 learning objectives that hopefully will be accomplished by the end of it. So by the end of today's session, you'll be able to explain what attributes make an effective proposal, identify top tips for preparing your proposals, identifying successful experiences of winning local action proposals. We'll have 2 former local actions winners giving you also some pieces of advice. And last but not least, understanding how and when to apply for local actions 2024. So again, stay tuned. And we first have to start for the basis, and it is what approach should we use whenever we are thinking on the road safety problem, and we are starting to think on a project proposal. And it is, yes, you know it, the safe system approach. You know that this is an approach that has been agreed by the international community, by experts, and it basically moves away from the traditional approach. What does the traditional approach say? It says that the responsibility of road traffic crashes is on road users mainly. It doesn't consider other elements that are part of the road safety system, let's call it that way. So people that usually work from the traditional approach would say something like this that you can see on the screen. 90% of road crashes were due to road users. So always blaming the road users. And the thing is that, as I said before, the international community experts, NGOs have been moving from this traditional approach and have been understanding that road safety not only entails and involves road user behavior, but it also takes into consideration vehicle safety, infrastructure, regulations, enforcement, post-crash response, and many other elements that come into play whenever we're thinking on improving road safety. So the safe system approach bases on these four statements mainly. The first one says that road safety says that road safety is a broader systemic issue at play. So again, it's an issue, or it's an area where many elements have to come together in order to see an improvement. I mentioned them before: infrastructure, enforcement, education. We are not leaving that behind. The thing is, we are not only thinking that education and road user behavior is the panacea for road safety around the world. So this is the first statement where the safe system approach lands on. It also considers that humans make mistakes. The safe system approach understands that we are humans, and in our life and on the roads, it's probable that we make mistakes, but those mistakes doesn't have to be deadly. There should be forgiving, let's say, forgiving roads. Maybe you've heard that term before, but it's roads and a system, a mobility system that is designed to avoid that those mistakes are deadly and come to losing lives or having people severely injured. So it also stands from this very important statement. It also understands that our bodies are vulnerable. Our bodies are not designed to stand or to endure high speeds or a crash while driving at high speeds. Our body should be very different if it were to sustain and endure those forces that are involved in a crash. And this is something that you can see in module 2 of the JERS Academy, how our bodies should be shaped. So basically, the safe system states that we should take care of a very vulnerable and sensible body. And then last but not least, again, the system should be designed to protect road users, but not to blame them. So these are the four statements where the safe system approach roots in. And this is something that you will also find in the module 2. This is like a comparison between the traditional approach and the safe system approach. So basically, we can see that there are some key questions where you can understand how both approaches understand road safety differently. And the answers to these questions, of course, are different between each one of the approaches. For example, the answer to what is the problem when we are talking about road safety, the road safety problem. What's the problem there? In terms of the safe system approach, the problem to solve would be fatalities and serious injuries, but different to the traditional approach, which says that all the crashes, no matter if they are serious or not, should be addressed through road safety measures. So here's a big difference, because the traditional approach would also focus on those crashes that only involve, let's say, material damage, but not focus on the ones that really affect people's lives. So this is one of the first differences. The other difference is the cause of the problem. There is a different understanding on what causes the problem of road traffic crashes. And the safe system approach understands that it is system failures, different things, again, that come into play to deliver safer or not so safe streets. But in exchange, the traditional approach says that it's the road user, the risky behavior, impaired driving, and again, only focuses on the road users out there. Who's ultimately responsible? This is also a question where we get a different answer. From the safe system approach, we would say it is the system designers. It is people who design how roads are shaped, who, let's say, also who put into place speed limits, who do the enforcement, but mainly those system designers are also guilty on the road safety problem. And different to that, the traditional approach says that it is the individual road user. People's demand for safety. So according to the safe system approach, people want safety. People not only want to get from point A to point B as quick as possible, as efficiently as possible, but people want to get there safely. And different to this, the traditional approach understands or states that people just want to get efficiency in the mobility system. So that's pretty different, right? And the last question, what's the appropriate goal in terms of how many lives should we accept to be lost in the road safety system? According to the safe system approach, it's 0 fatalities and serious injuries. So you may know, or you may have heard of the Vision Zero. It is absolutely linked and related to the safe system approach. And instead, the traditional approach states that there could be, or that there is, an acceptable or optimal number of deaths. So maybe depending on the context, it could be 100, 500, or 2, 3, 1. But it admits that there is people dying. So that's also pretty different from these two approaches. So something that's also pretty related and linked to the safe system approach is the fact that we have a global plan that states that there are 5 main areas of action where we should implement measures and evidence in order to reduce road traffic crashes. Those are multimodal transport and land use planning, safe road infrastructure, safe vehicles, safe road use, and post-crash response. As you may be guessing, the traditional approach, or most people, like your neighbors or people in your community, usually focus on the safe road use, on education, on behavior. But here you can see that also the global plan for the decade of action for road safety identified these 5 areas that have some that have importance and relevance in terms of preventing crashes. And here's something important. You see that multimodal transport and land use planning, it's a new area of action. Maybe if you got to know the previous plan of the decade of action of the last decade, this wasn't an area of action before. But now experts have understood that the way that cities are designed, how the space is distributed, how much space do we have for vulnerable road users, that also is very important in terms of saving lives. So a powerful road safety project could involve infrastructure changes, public space changes, improvements, so the public space and the infrastructure is safer and more inclusive to all modes of transport. So if you want to know more about all of this, please go to the JERS Academy, mainly in Module 2. You'll get to know the safe system approach and the risk factors. And maybe I think that, that'll be a lot of use for you to write your project proposal. Alrighty. Now, there is something important as well, and it is not forgetting that evidence has shown that road traffic crashes are the first cause of death for children and youth. So it hadn't changed from the previous global status report to this one that was recently launched. It is the same issue. So this is also like a call for us to be those leaders, active leaders, proactive leaders that have an active role in the road safety field. So what's next? You have now an understanding on the safe system approach. You go out to your streets, put on the safe system lenses, and start to understand that maybe an issue involves different elements of the system. And also, you have to start thinking, what is it that you have influence over, or what is it that you have the skills and knowledge to fight for? So you can maybe identify that influence that you can have those problems that you identify, and then you'll have your project idea, your very first and basic project idea. But then you need to start thinking what's next, how to make your project proposal strong. And I can tell you that something that can make your project proposal a winning one is also to focus on advocacy. And advocacy involves understanding
اشرح لي بسرعة بسرعة، اشرح لي والوصف بس.
understanding what's missing out there in terms of regulation or what hasn't been implemented so far. And that's when we can talk about something called a policy gap, something that's missing in the, let's say, regulation system of the country or of your city. So a policy gap, it's either the non-existence of policies that address key issues in road safety. For example, there are no laws on risk factors, there are no global safety standards, and there isn't an institutionalized participation of young people in policy in the policy making processes of road safety. Those can be policy gaps that you can also identify and add to your project idea. There's also maybe another possibility, and it is that maybe it exists, maybe there's a law, maybe there's a policy, but there's no implementation. So that's another issue that you could identify in your context and try to also cover or try to work on it through your project proposal and project implementation. Maybe there's no implementation of a policy or of a law because there are not enough resources, there isn't technical support, and this is something that you can push for and advocate for through your project. Remember, and this might be a bit technical and maybe too rooted in the political science thing, but a law is not a policy. A law is different to a policy. Policies are wider, long-lasting, and involve different elements. But it doesn't mean that your advocacy efforts cannot, it doesn't mean that your advocacy efforts cannot focus on pushing for passing a law or an amendment of a law. That's very important, that's valid, and it's something that you could do. Of course, you know that these projects are not long-term projects. These projects tend to be maybe 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. So maybe you will not see that policy change happen in that term, but you'll be pushing for it. You'll be a stakeholder that is fighting for that, and that's very important. So again, try to identify policy gaps to make your project proposal stronger. Here are some topics where you can identify potential policy gaps. So in terms of the risk factors, maybe there's no laws on speeding, speed limits, drunk driving, helmet use of seatbelts, or child restraints. And in terms of the safe system areas, maybe there's lack of guidelines or policies around safe infrastructure, safe vehicles, post-crash response, transport and land use, and safe road users. So how you can identify that policy gap? So again, you have observed a problem in your community, in your local areas or cities, and you can also think, is there a policy, is there a law, is there a regulation that could or should address this problem and maybe would lead to a change? So there's where you start maybe identifying a policy gap, and then you have to do, of course, all the research to see if there's something missing or not being implemented. And this is something that you can also do through quantitative and qualitative data. It's very important that you always back up with evidence your project proposal. So always using data and evidence, official statistics, crash data, global data. We have the global status report just released. So that's also information that can show you what's missing and where to focus on. And in terms of qualitative information, you can also go and check local perceptions, interviews, focus groups, media reports, have conversations with experts, and that will of course be a light to your way of creating your proposal. So the global status report, again, I highly recommend you to check it out. There's an app. This app has all the like national statistics, or the statistics that they have calculated per country. So you can go there, download the app, and check out how your country is doing in terms of all the data and information that they report researched on. There's even, for example, here's an example of one of the pieces of information that you'll find. And it is, for example, this map shows the status of speed laws in countries. So this could be a policy gap. Easy, and it's like easy to identify, because you can see your country, let's say Colombia. Colombia is here, and according to this, is doing well in terms of speed limits or speed laws. So you can go and check your country and see if there's maybe not a law, or if the law doesn't meet the UN criteria, or if the law is already in place, but maybe it's not being well implemented. So this also is, again, a very good source of information for you to understand where to focus on your project. And I would like to give you some examples of activities to ensure that your project has a strong advocacy component. And a strong advocacy component can make your project more appealing to funders. So I highly recommend you to take notes on this. So we have 3 key elements of advocacy. This is something that you will see also in Module 5. Check out Module 5 of the George Academy. You'll see this in more detail. But we basically have 3 elements that made up advocacy: political will, empowerment and communication, and social support and mobilization. So what are the examples of activities if you want to work to improve or increase the political will? Meetings with decision makers, presenting your ideas to them, having conversations with them, with the secretariat, or with the technical team of the road safety authority of your city or your country, attending strategic events to approach to these key decision makers. That's also very important. You can map and see what are those key events where they will be attending, and you can reach out to these people. Also, in terms of empowerment and communication, you can do some media related activities, such as interviews, Twitter spaces, workshops with community, or, for example, with journalists. This is something that a lot of people in the road safety field does to ensure that media is also communicating things around road safety in the right way. And also, and this is something that we as young people, I think, are very skilled to do, is social media campaigns. So these are some of the ideas in terms of empowerment and communication. And then you have social support and mobilization as the third element of advocacy. And here, some examples of activities would be petition, pledges, or statements with on-field interventions as well, and also building coalitions and understanding who could be those allied organizations, for you to do your efforts and get into a successful completion of your project. So to wrap up this bit, we have that to ensure a strong advocacy component in your project, you can first identify if there's a policy gap, if there's a regulation missing, a regulation not being implemented in your country or your city. Also looking for the evidence, looking for the data, quantitative and qualitative. Thinking also of advocacy strategies, such as the ones that I just showed you based on the 3 elements of advocacy, and identifying a tangible outcome. So you have to know what is the change that you want to see. If it is an infrastructure change, a regulation change, behavior change, that's something that you want, that you need to have very clear drafted in your project proposal. Also, this is a bonus, and this is something that we kind of discussed during the icebreaker. Identifying that your project has a linkage with the SDGs, or that your project can help achieve some SDG or some SDGs, it's also very positive and also brings a lot of attention and power to your proposal. This is something that you can see in more detail in Module 3. So Module 3 of the JERS Academy. So we have that at least six SDGs are linked, very, very directly linked to road safety, right? So it is SDG 3, good health and well-being, SDG 4, quality education, how we make safe school zones around, school areas, gender equality, how we can see differences in the ways that women and men move around the city, reduce inequalities. Having safer roads is a way to reduce inequalities, give people the opportunity to access job opportunities, learning opportunities, or just to enjoy life. So that's also a way to reduce inequalities. SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities. This is also pretty linked on how we can make cities accessible, more sustainable, how we can foster sustainable modes of transport, walking, cycling, etc. And of course, SDG 13, climate action, which also has a very strong relationship with road safety and climate change. So these are the SDGs that you can also see how could be linked to your proposal. And again, check out Module 3 if you want to know more of the relationship between these SDGs and road safety. So we have 81 participants back. I think there's some people missing, but let's get back to it. I'll mute someone who's got her microphone open. Alrighty. Okay, so I hope that was interesting. You had a nice conversation. I think sometimes it takes time to get into the breakout room and things, but hopefully you had a short and sweet conversation with another participant. So this would be kind of my last part of the presentation, and then I'll hand it over to our guest speakers and then to the launch of the local actions call. So please stay tuned. And for this bit, I would like to share with you 8 pro tips that will make your project proposal successful, and that will also you will need to consider while writing your proposal. That those are very practical, so I hope they are useful for you. So the first pro tip is to understand who you are and your values. I think one of the things that makes your project successful is the fact that you choose a topic that inspires you, a topic that keeps you connected, a topic that you like so much that if maybe there's a problem or a challenge throughout your project, you will keep fighting for it. So that's, in my case, I talk personally. I did some local actions projects in the past, and I always focus on a topic that I love, and it is promoting the bicycle use in the city. So we always have challenges in the projects, and if it is a topic that we really like, we are really interested in, I'm pretty sure that you will overcome those challenges and you will have a project to successfully delivered. So whenever you're choosing the topic that you want to work on, please understand those values and those things that you really like and that you want to fight for. Pro tip number 2 is understand the context with evidence and backing up your project goals and objectives. So again, this is a very repetitive piece of advice, I think, but it's important that you identify a problem based on evidence, using data, understanding what has been done in the past that has successfully helped this problem to be solved or improved, and always using it also to state your goals and your objectives. Setting a goal and an intention, it's also very important. Like a big part of our project is its goal. And here are some examples of goals that you could maybe use as inspiration. The thing with goals is that those are pretty wide, pretty general, but at the same time, you will need to have some maybe period of implementation or the place where you will be implementing. But anyways, they tend to be more general, of course, than the objectives and the activities. So one of the examples here says, to save young people's lives on the world roads and help reach global goals targets 3.6 and 11.2 by giving youth skills to take action for road safety in Manila by September 2025. So saving young people's lives, reaching the global goals can be more general, maybe harder to measure, and that's why this is a goal. Another example is highlight the voice and relevance of youth in the decision-making process around the bicycle use in Bogota between April and November 2021. That's another example with a general intention, but also, starting to narrow the path throughout or with the objectives, which is, and this is the next pro tip, the objectives should be SMART. This is something that you'll find in module 5. And this is, in what does it mean, SMART? It means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. I remember someone in the icebreaker wrote this one. So again, I think this is someone who's maybe taking module 5. And these elements or characteristics on a goal help you ensure that this is a goal that you will be able to achieve by the end of your project. For example, 2 examples here. By October 2023, launch a virtual petition to show public support for the pledge of cyclists to 25 members of the City Council in Bogota. So here you can see there's it is time bound, there's like a deadline, it is realistic because you also, and measurable because you also say how many people you want to maybe involve in or throughout this objective. And it also is realistic because it's in maybe the field that you work on, the people that you know and you can contact. Another example is by June 2023, engage with 5 decision makers on meaningful youth participation through intergenerational steering group meetings with youth leaders aged 18-29 in Kampala. So here, again, here's like a target, a specific target. You can measure how many decision makers you want to involve. You have it is time bound because it says by June 2023 and so on. So here you can see a mix of all of these elements that make a SMART objective. Pro tip number 5, it's defining the activities that will make your objectives come true. So we've been from the wider element, which is the goal, to the narrower one, which is the activities. So, of course, the activities should be linked to your objectives and your objectives to the goal. And here are some examples of activities that you could, or that actions that you could consider an activity. So these are very specific. These are the ones that help you, again, get your goal. For example, deliver a workshop for 25 young leaders on the relevance of safe speeds. So yeah, delivering a workshop, mapping organization and identifying 2 allies and have them join your project. That's another activity that you could do. Maybe your objective is building a coalition, for example. Another activity, arrange 2 meetings with the Transport Secretariat of my city. Very specific, straightforward, to the point, and should be connected to an objective. And a bonus here is that you link your activities to your objectives, and that you also think of realistic preparation time for them and deadlines. Always having deadlines, thinking how long could it take you to implement this activity, what would you need. It's also crucial for your project, mainly project implementation, but it's something that you could potentially start thinking when you implement your proposal, because then you will need to implement it in the future. Next pro tip is linking your project to the achievement of the SDGs or to local international plans. Maybe there's a local road safety plan in your area that you could link your project to, and say that maybe your project wants to achieve a specific action of this plan. Or for example, the global plan for the decade of action. That's also a very important reference for us to base our projects and connect our projects to. Pro tip 7 is finding the right team to support you in making your project a successful one. So of course, this is super important as well. You cannot think that you will do everything, like you will do all the orchestra while the implementation of your project. From the beginning, from the planning, from the proposal, you need to start thinking, what support would you need? Maybe you're skilled on data analysis, or maybe you're skilled on mapping stakeholders, but you might need to have someone supporting you in the communications bit, reaching out to decision makers, or analyzing data. You need to understand what those needs might be, or even in logistics. For the implementation of activities, you need someone who's out there helping you out. So all those needs, you need to map them and try as much as you can to make a team of around, I would say, 3-4 people that can support your project implementation. And it's not only you fighting against the world, trying to implement everything. So pro tip 8, it's taking your calculator and estimating the budget. This is something that many of you also mentioned in the icebreaker. Of course, you'll have limited resources. So it is very important that you consider the different elements that usually a project involves, which are team costs, logistic costs, administrative costs, and also consider the value for money. So for example, team costs, of course, would be how much would you be remunerating your team, your own work, that's important. And on the logistic costs bit, you should consider transportation costs, maybe per diems, maybe travel costs, if maybe you're doing something out of the city, accommodation, if that's also the case, food and refreshments, all of those things, materials for your workshops or activities, those should come into the logistic costs. And the administrative costs, that could depend on the organization you work with or your own organization. How much would it take maybe to pay someone to manage the project resources, or if you need to pay some fees or taxes, that's also important that you consider while planning or estimating the budget for your project. And the value for money is thinking if what you are charging for your activities is competitive in terms of the of other organizations that could do the same. So you have to do like the due diligence and see maybe in this area or the road safety field, what other organizations could be charging, and if if what you are charging is competitive in relation to them. So to wrap up, remember defining your values and your vision, choosing topics that really interest you, identifying quantitative and qualitative data, setting your goals, objectives, and activities clearly and connected between each other, estimating an encompassing budget, and the sustainability of the project. Also thinking on, okay, maybe this project finishes in 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. How is it maybe going to keep influencing some areas or some people around there? That's also important that you can consider, and will also make your project proposal stronger. So some relevant resources, and I'm nearly there to pass it on to our 2 guest speakers of the day. But some relevant resources that you can check out and maybe get some inspiration from are our policy briefs. We already have 5 of them. They are linked to the SDGs. So this is also a very important source for you to understand maybe how you can link your project proposal to the SDGs and get some ideas of activities or evidence that's out there working already positively. Another one would be the Policymakers Toolkit, which we also launched some time ago, and the Global Plan for the Decade of Action for Road Safety for this decade. This is also an important or relevant source that you could check out. And again, the Global Status Report on Road Safety 2023. And the Global Youth Statement. It is always good to check this statement again. What are the demands that are stated in this statement, and what is it that we are as coalition planning to do? So here's again some more inspiration for your projects. And lastly, our modules of the JERS Academy. There are 5 modules already. And so those are also very good sources of inspiration. Whenever you're taking them, please take your time, do it slowly, don't rush, so you can make the most out of them. So now it's the time for our guest speakers to share with us their experience in winning local actions in the past. So we have today Marifeli Rincon, who's from Colombia. She works for Despacio, a local NGO, and she was local action winners for 2023. And we also have Oliva Nawala. She is also a local actions winner from 2022, and she's member from the Youth Leadership Board, currently working for FIA Foundation. So 2 amazing young leaders who will share their experiences in drafting successful project proposals. So I don't know who's around there. Not sure if Mari or Oliva, who wants to start sharing their presentation or their words. I can see Oliva here already. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Daniela, and I'm really humbled for the opportunity to speak to my peers from all over the world. Once again, my name is Oliva Nalwada, and like Laura said, I am glad to serve on the board of the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety, also the Youth Ambassador for the FIA Foundation. So speaking about the local actions, earlier on, Daniela was talking about how we feel, the feeling we get when you're writing a proposal. And starting out for me, writing proposals felt like a construction site where everything is a mess. You're overwhelmed, you need a lot of stuff, you need support from different people. Sometimes you don't know where you're going to get it from, but the overall goal is the finished house. Once you keep your eye on the end goal, then these become minor hurdles for you to go through, and you're empowered over time to see through them until you finish your construction. The local action program under yours, for me, it has been life-changing. I would start by that, because irrespective of our respective leadership roles in our organizations, the local actions give you the opportunity as a young person to take overall leadership of a program. In our respective offices, sometimes they will trust you with only the budget, or to just do the reporting, or to just do the monitoring and stuff like that. But with this project, the Local Action Project, you're able to own your own program right from the start, from the situation analysis or the consultations, to developing the proposal, to reporting, to budgeting and managing the funds all on your own. And this is a first step for you as a young leader to get a taste of leadership. How do you handle leadership, and how do you see a project through? And also for me as a person, being part of the Local Action Winners has also enabled me to forge significant partnerships with key stakeholders, both at national level within my country, I'm from Uganda, by the way, but also at global level. So this, overall, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. So some of the tips from my side, I know Daniela has mentioned quite a few that I was already hoping on mentioning, but as a young leader, you need to understand what is your niche, what makes you stand out, or what makes you different. Because believe it or not, the applications that yours receives are in the higher end of hundreds or thousands even. So you need to stand out, and different things can make you stand out. It can be the choice of strategy you choose as a young person for your project. It could be your target audience, or it could be, like she was mentioning earlier, your linkage to national and global goals. I've won 2 local action programs, I think one for 2022 and another for 2023. And I would say for my 2023 project, my niche was my focus on children with disabilities and empowering learners with disabilities to take the leadership role when it comes to road safety advocacy within our country. And I think that helped me stand out, because that is not a target group that so many people think of when they're thinking of road safety promotion or road safety advocacy. The other tip perhaps I could give is you need to be open to learning. You need to learn from previous local action winners, and also from yours has amazing modules that can help you learn about different elements of road safety. But also when you look at the website, it gives you an insight of some of the local action programs that are funded before. If you look into them, you're able to understand what kind of proposals do they look for, so that you're able to tailor, not copy and paste, but tailor your application to what yours is inclined to funding. And that gives me opportunity to go to my next point, which is, I have only 4 minutes. I hope I've not used all of them, which is always try again. Because the first time I applied for a local grant, this is a personal experience, I didn't get through. But that didn't stop me from trying again. Like I said, there are hundreds of people who apply for these grants. So one of us is bound to hear and no, try again next time. But this doesn't mean you give up and not try again. Use this opportunity to learn more. Why didn't my proposal go through this time? Reach out to those who won the local action grant. Ask them to share their proposals with you if they are open to. Go to the YOS website. Reach out to the YOS staff so that they are able to guide you on how you can better package your proposal for the next application. And then maybe the last point is, do not assume, follow instructions. In the breakout rooms, I think some of us are experienced with written proposals before, so don't assume that you know what they want just because you've written a proposal before. Each call for proposals is distinct in terms of what they're looking for, what their interests are. So before you attempt to start on an application, go to the website, read the instructions. In case they are talking about things like the safe systems approach and you've not yet heard of them before, that is not a crime. Just educate yourself. You take use of the materials that are on the website so that you're able to learn, understand, but also apply anything that you've learned in designing a really efficient proposal. So I think those are my few tips that I can give. But other than that, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, and I encourage all of you to give it a shot. Thank you so much, Daniela. Over to you.
Thank you, Oliva. That was lovely. I think super realistic pieces of advice and based on experience. And I love the fact of what you said, that maybe on the first time you won't get it, maybe you will, but it can happen that you don't have to surrender. You need to keep going, keep pushing, and keep improving. This is all about learning and all about improving. Alrighty, so now, because we're running out of time, I'll pass it on to Marifeli Rincon here from Bogota as well. Mari, please share with us some of your pieces of advice for the local actions future participants.
Okay, hi Danny, hi everyone. And as you mentioned, the last year I implement with my team the Pedestrians First projects. That was a project with the main objective of right awareness and advocate for respectful spaces for pedestrians here in Bogota. And I want to share additional tips for that were very helpful for me when I structure and develop my project proposal. So the first one is it's very important to understand and review in detail all the criteria and information that is requested in the call before making the proposal.
Mari, I'm
it
sorry
sounds
to interrupt. You're not sharing your screen in case you want to maybe share a presentation. Just checking.
it shows that is disabled. To share.
Okay, maybe you can try now.
Up. Okay. Can you share? Can you see my?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. The first one is to review in detail all the information and data that is requested in the call, because it's important to understand if we need to fill a template, write a general document proposal, or prepare personal documents, or as Danny said before, prepare a model from yours academy, for example. The second is to make a checklist. I recommend this because it's important to track all the tasks that you need to do to ensure the compliance, all the criteria requests in the call, because it's very likely that if any of the criteria is not met, maybe they will not accept your proposal. The third one is objectives. It's important to define a main and global objective that it's achievable, easy to understand, but also specific, because in some way the main objective will be the essence of your project, from which all the criteria requests in the all the activities that you want to do will emerge. Therefore, it's your project activities. And in my case, I categorize all the activities according to the type of the activity that I want to do and the result that I want to achieve with them. For example, in my project, I categorize the first type of activities was awareness activities, because was activities to sensibilize and awareness, and also advocate activities, and so on. 5, as Danny mentioned, define your teammates, and it's pretty important to define and choose people with skills and also with knowledge that will help to develop the activities, but also with people really interested in the topic of the project. And 6, be realistic, defining the proposed dates and deadlines for activities. The idea is to define a deadline for each activity, considering the planning of the activity, but also the execution of the activity, so you can carry out the activities without rushing. So that's very important. And the last tip is to propose creative and out-of-the-box activities, because this can highlight your project proposal and make it more interesting. In my case, the last year I proposed a series of artistic and strict activities that were very nice to develop. And yeah, that's all the tips that I hope be useful for your project proposals. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mari. I think those were also very important and interesting tips. So again, thank you so much and congratulations for being a local actions winner from last year. And well, people, we are running out of time, so I'll move on to the next section, which will be led by Sana Hasaune, our advocacy area manager, and you'll get to know now what are the requirements and guidelines for the call for proposals. So over to you, Sana.
Hi, Danny. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I think this is the most exciting moment in this session because now we will introduce to you the application guidelines and all the information that you need to consider when you are working on your application for this call of application for local actions. And I'd like to run you through the guidelines, the scoring criteria, and make sure that you have a thorough understanding of everything so you can submit a winning proposal. So first thing, I'd like to start with defining what is a local action. Basically, through this program by yours, we are looking for youth-led action plans that are aimed at addressing a specific challenge, the most pressing challenge and issue related to road safety in your area. So, for example, if you are living in Latin America or in Southeast Asia, you need to know and to have a good understanding of the existing road safety situation in your community in order to be able to propose an innovative solution that will be able to impact road safety and active mobility systems in your area. So in a nutshell, we are looking for short-term to mid-term projects. We're talking about 6 months up to 1 year long projects. So keep that in mind when you are working on your proposal. There are a couple of things that will help you build a strong proposal. So we invite everyone to check mainly 3 main documents that will help you in doing a good investigation before you start brainstorming the idea that you would like to propose. First thing, you need to read the Global Youth Statement for Road Safety that is available on our website. Throughout the Global Youth Statement, you will be able to see the main challenges, the main demands and commitments proposed by young people worldwide, and you will see them basically per region, listed per region. So you will be able to know what are the demands of young people in your region, what are the most pressing challenges, in order to make your proposal aligned with that. The second thing is the global plan for the second decade of action for road safety. Basically, the main goal of the global plan is to reduce the number of fatalities and injuries caused by road crashes worldwide to 50%. So how do we achieve that? In the global plan, you will be able to see who are the stakeholders that need to be involved, what are the main risk factors that we need to tackle, how can we integrate the safe system approach and the national and local policies for road safety and sustainable mobility at local and national levels. So it's very important that you thoroughly read this document. It will help you a lot in building your proposal. The last thing is you need to make sure that your project is aligning road safety within the Sustainable Development Agenda. And yours and the Global Youth Coalition have produced 5 policy briefs that basically link road safety with the relevant sustainable development goals. So if your project is, for example, highlighting health and well-being, you are invited to read how road safety is linked to that. How can you propose a project focused on injury prevention for young people? Same for education, for climate action, for sustainable cities. So the policy briefs will be a very valuable asset that will help you understand the existing situation, and maybe also will give you some inspiration on what are the ideas that you can propose that will help you address this challenge in your community. Now I'd like to give you just a brief definition for the project categories, so you know what are the projects that we are looking for, what are the projects that we are aiming to fund for this year. And we have 4 categories. When you submit your application, your project needs to prioritize at least one of these categories. The first category is advocacy for policy change, and here we are looking for proposals that aim to engage a decision maker. And by that, we mean that we want you to be engaged in designing and improving the existing policies in your country that prioritize road safety or sustainable mobility. And that can include laws, the existing laws in your country, legislations, regulations, and standards. So you need to have a clear understanding of the national policy in your country in order to propose a meaningful approach to tackle this specific category. The second one is community mobilization and awareness. And here, through this category, we are looking for projects that can bring as many stakeholders as possible to raise awareness on road safety and sustainable mobility. So here you can include project components like capacity building or training, or even awareness campaigns that target young people and the civil society and so on. The third category is focused on urbanization, basically improving cities, infrastructure, and public spaces. So here, we are looking for ideas that aim to modify the existing road environment by making the streets more welcoming to active modes of travel, and by addressing the challenges faced by vulnerable road users from different genders, from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and from different age groups as well. The last category is focused on innovation, data, and technology. And here you can think out of the box on how can we use AI or new technologies, new tools in addressing road safety challenges. But for this category, you need to prove that you have the technical capacity to work on it, or if you have any connection or partnership that will help you implement these activities. So as you see, we try to give you the space to, to explore what you can do, regardless of your background. If you come from a medical background, from technology, political sciences, or even like communication. So everyone is welcome to apply. Now, what would you get as a winner of the local actions? Basically, you will get 4 main things. First, the seed funding. So we will fund the projects with 5,000 euros per project. When you are planning your proposal, make sure to include an estimated budget that is aligned with the activities that you are proposing, up to 5,000 euros. The second thing is you will receive technical assistance from the yours team. And by that, we mean that we will help you sharpen your project plan, plan your activities, sharpen your budget to make sure you have a clear roadmap to implement your project. And we will not only leave you at that point, we will connect you with experts in the road safety field and or with other fields as well, depending on your project category, through our mentorship program. So you will receive support, and you will receive regular mentorship sessions by these experts throughout the implementation process of your project. So for example, if you don't have strong fundraising skills or communication skills or urbanism, we will connect you with people that will help you grow this kind of skills to implement your projects successfully. And the last thing is we will give you access to a local network and to potential partners that will help you in implementing your project. So keep that in mind. It's a great opportunity for everyone. Now, before you submit your proposal, please make sure that you read the guidelines thoroughly. We are providing you with the scoring criteria, and there are mandatory things that we will check before we review your proposal. So make sure that you are following these guidelines. First thing, you need to be a global youth coalition member. So make sure if you are not a member, or if one of your friends would like to apply and they are not members, they need to apply to become members before they submit their proposals. And the second thing is, we have been running the Global Youth Consultation for 3 months now, and we would like you to carry out the consultations before you submit your proposal. In case you have carried out the consultation already, please do it again. Take more 5 minutes to do the consultations again, and take a screenshot to prove that you did do the consultations, because we will ask you to attach this proof to your application. The third thing is you need to take the first 3 modules of the Yours Academy, and this criteria basically will help you to have a thorough understanding of the road safety, the global road safety situation, the safe system approach, and how road safety is centered within the Sustainable Development Agenda. So make sure you carry out these modules, and basically they will help you a lot in sharpening your proposal. And the last thing is you need to have a supporting local partner. So you need to reach out to a strong local organization in your country, in your community, that will be able to give you technical assistance, or that will be able to provide you with partnership opportunities or fundraising opportunities in order to implement your project. And they will need to give you a supporting letter that is signed by the head of the organization, and that has all the information that you need to provide for your application. So make sure you reach out to local organizations in your area and to get them on board while you are working on your proposal. So don't leave this for the last minute. Do it ahead, even before you start working on your proposal, and include them in the designing process. I'd like to invite everyone to stay with me for 5 more minutes so I can run you through the scoring criteria, and maybe to see if anyone has any questions. So just to make sure that you are drafting a winning proposal, you need to make sure that your proposal has been designed to basically respond to this criteria. The first thing that you need to make sure of is that you have identified an evidence-based community issue related to road safety. How can I do that? How can you do that? You can start by reviewing reliable sources that will give you this kind of information. You can go to the Global Status Report that has been launched recently. You can even go to the Apple Store or Play Store on your phone and download the Global Status Report application. And it will be very accessible for you to just search for your country or search for your region to understand what is the existing situation in your country. Another source can be the local authority in your country. This can be the Ministry of Transportation or the Public Security Directorate, or if there is a road safety lead agency in your country, they release annual reports that assess the local situation. And you will get for this between 1 to 10 points. The second thing is you need to make sure that young people are meaningfully involved in your proposal, not only as a target group or as a beneficiary group, but as main agents and main actors that will support you throughout all the phases of your implementation process of your project. So make sure that you include that clearly and meaningfully. The third thing is to have an outstanding idea to address the issue. And by that, we need to showcase a thorough understanding for your project goal, and to basically list SMART objectives for your project in order to highlight what you are trying to do exactly, and how does it link to the global plan, and how does it contribute to addressing the issue or the evidence-based issue that you have identified earlier. The fourth thing is to make sure that your project proposal is aligned with the categories that we have just explained for you. Your project needs to basically target 1 or 2 categories out of the 4 categories. And if you include advocacy components, strong advocacy components, you can receive 5 additional points. So make sure that your project proposal is innovative, it's interesting, it has artistic components, cultural components or activities This will give you additional points. And the fifth thing is to link your proposal with the Sustainable Development Goals. And as I said, please check the annexes in the guidelines. There you will find a lot of resources that will help you to know how can you align your project proposal with the relevant Sustainable Development Goals. Now, the next thing is you need to respond to the Global Youth Statement. Make sure that you read it and you have a thorough understanding of the demands and the commitments and the challenges faced by young people in your country and in your region, and that your proposal is contributing to the global plan for the second decade of action on road safety. And by that, we mean we need to have a meaningful contribution to reducing the number of fatalities and injuries caused by road crashes. The next thing is you need to have a local partner support. And if you have more than one partner, you will get additional points. So if you can have a partnership with private sector, with universities, with research centers, as well as with civil society organizations, this will give you additional points, as it will show us that you have enough connections in your area that will help you implement all the components of your projects. So make sure that you reach out to many sectors and to involve as many agents as possible in your proposal. The last two things are the project sustainability. By that, we mean we want to see your ability to scale up your project beyond this grant, and what is the roadmap that you envision for the future of your project. So make sure that you provide us with your visions and with your with how you see your project leaving a lasting impact in the future beyond this grant. And the last thing is we are prioritizing the high fatality regions based on the latest insights from the Global Status Report on road safety. And by that, we mean Africa, Southeast Asia, and Western Pacific regions. So if you are from these regions, we invite you to apply, because your applications will be prioritized as you are the most impacted by road crashes globally. Now, the timeline of the project. The call to application opens today. Yay, this is super exciting. The deadline is in 3 weeks. So you have 3 full weeks to work on your proposal. The deadline is February 9 at 5 p.m. CET. Write it down, write this date and time down in your notes. February 9th at 5 p.m. CET is the last time that will be available for you to submit your proposal. On the 1st of March, we will invite all the shortlisted proposals to present their ideas to a jury that will be in charge of evaluating these proposals and selecting the final winners. And on April 1st, we will announce the winning projects, and they will be up on the website, so you can see who are the winning projects for this year. And on April 5th, we will be having our first informative meeting with all the winners, where we will discuss with them the roadmap to implementing their 1-year projects, and we will go through the entire process with them, and we will explain the technicalities of the implementation process. After that, you will have 1 full month to work on your project plan before the implementation starts. And throughout this 1 month, we will provide you with technical assistance to sharpen your project plan, to help you identify the SMART objectives, and basically to finalize the budget and everything related to your project. So be mindful of the deadline. Now we're coming to the end of the presentation. So if you would like to apply, just pay close attention and pay special attention to what I'm going to say now. The process is easy and simple. We have mainly 3 steps. Start with reading the local actions guidelines thoroughly and carefully. Check the annexes, check the footnotes, and start basically with doing the background research. Start with reaching out to the partners. Start with building a team. You need to have a team of young people to design this project, and make sure that you follow all the guidelines. You are all members of the Global Youth Coalition. you have taken the Yours Academy modules, and you have a local partner. After that, you need to get a letter from this local organization that stating that they will back up your project. And this letter needs to be submitted with your application. And before you submit, make sure that you have all the supporting documents, a proof that you finished the Yours Academy modules and the consultations, and that you are a member of the Global Youth Coalition. After that, you need to download the template for the application form. Basically, you need to fill it out, and you need to pay attention to the word limit, because each question, each category in this template has a word limit, and please make sure that you respect that and you do not exceed the word limit. After that, you need to save your project proposal with your name underscore your country. So for example, if I'm applying, my project proposal needs to be named as Sanaa Khassaoune underscore Jordan. If it's Dani, it needs to be Daniela Gomez underscore Colombia. This is very important for us, and this makes sure that your proposal does not get lost in our archive. And the last thing is you need to visit the type form, which is the form where you need to submit your project proposal and add all the supporting documents there. Make sure you go through all these steps before February 9th at 5 p.m. CET. Everything is explained clearly on the website, and everyone will receive a follow-up email with all these steps after this session. So make sure that you go to claimingourspace.org/local actions, where you can see all this information. And if anything remains unclear for you, or if you have any questions, please reach out to us at coalition@youthforroadsafety.org. We will be very happy to answer all your inquiries and to support you in building a strong proposal. We would love to see everyone in here applying and inviting their friends and their peers to apply as well. And good luck to everyone. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanaa. Wonderful launch for the local actions. I think many people are excited. Many people are already thinking to apply. I just share the link of the page where you will find all the information that Sanaa just explained. Detailed. You'll get the links to the form, to the guidelines. Everything, you'll get it there. So no worries. You'll also get the recording of today's session in your email box, hopefully tomorrow or in the next few days. So no worries at all. Please, as Sanaa mentioned, check out all the requirements and take your time so you can accomplish everything. I think we have some questions here that could be easily answered. Not sure, maybe Sanaa, if you want to go through some of them. Those are, I think, very straightforward. For example, Angela is asking if an university can be a partner organization.
Yes, definitely. Just make sure you include them on board. Make sure that they are happy to be a partner. Reach out to them, ask them to provide you with a supporting letter. We had previous local action projects that had universities as partner organizations.
Exactly. And for example, there's another one saying how you know if an organization is part of the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety?
Organizations do not necessarily need to be part of the Global Youth Coalition for Road Safety. You need to be a member as the winner of the project and as the main implementer of the project. So it's okay if your partner organization is not part of our network.
Perfect. And then, well, you already answered this. Proposal must be submitted only in English. An individual can only submit one proposal, right? It cannot be more than one.
Yes, my suggestion is if you want to submit more than one proposal, maybe you can build a team, and you can send one proposal with your name and another proposal with your team member's name. And this way you can have multiple proposals, but each applicant you can only submit one proposal. You are eligible to only submit one proposal.
Yeah, and you can become, and going back to becoming a member of the coalition, you can become a member if you're between 18 and 35 years old, right? So I think many or most of us here accomplish that requirement. Alrighty, so Please do send more questions if you have them on the chat box. We'll make sure that next week or in the next few days we answer them through maybe our mailing system or social media. So please keep posted. Also, check out the page. We will update maybe any information out there in the website. So well, I think that will be it. We are 30 minutes late according to the session's timing of today. So I would like to, well, also mention that these are some of our partners for this local actions project to be real and for you to have the opportunity to access to this funding and to this precious opportunity. So also I will take the time to thank our partners, Michelin, Total Energies, FIA Foundation, for all their support. And before you go, I'll very quickly send or activate a poll, which where we would like to know how would you rate this session, if you like it, if you learned something, if you have any advice for us to consider in the next session. This is very important for us. So please take 1 minute. I don't think it will take you more than 1 minute to answer this, and we will take a group picture after that. So I'll give you 30, 40 more seconds so we get some answers. And again, if you have questions that maybe weren't answered today because of the lack of time, do type them in the chat box. We'll keep them and we will make sure to answer them in the next few days. So no worries at all. Alrighty, 30 seconds. Please do answer the poll and we'll do the group picture.